Hi everyone, my name is MOTO from Iconic Sports Agency. Today is May 29th, Friday. I wanted to talk about baseball because it was going to start in mid-June, 3 weeks from now, and I was really excited about it. At first, I guess they are going to start without spectators, but maybe somewhere in mid-July, they're going to have spectators in the ballparks. So I was thinking of going, but it's going to be like about 2 months from now. But hopefully everything's, we have to, it all depends on how we coexist with the COVID-19. But like I said, I wanted to talk about baseball, but I think today I wanted to talk more about the Japanese culture and why Japan was successful, why the positive numbers were low, and why the death tolls were low. Just wanted to give you my take on what I think about the COVID-19 virus outbreak here in Japan. I think it is very different compared to most countries. First, I'd like to talk about how people wear masks in Japan. It's pretty common. Everybody wears it, especially this time of year where there's a lot of pollen that goes around. A lot of people have allergies, so they wear masks and they try to prevent allergies from that. So a lot of people wear masks. And another reason with the mask is I think it's a cultural thing. When you have a mask on, it doesn't mean that you don't want to get some kind of a virus, meaning you don't want to get sick, because if someone's coughing or if someone's sneezing, you don't want to get that, in your system. So you have the mask on. It's actually the other way around. It's basically you put on a mask so you don't spread. You can prevent from spreading the virus that you have. Like say if you're sick, you don't want to spread it to other people. So you have the mask on. Why I say this is there's a term in Japanese, actually. It's really, for some, or actually for most foreigners, I think you'll find it very interesting. Like, for instance, if you were walking somewhere and like a person in front of you drops something, like a handkerchief or something, and you say you go pick it up, and the first thing that comes to mind, the person would say usually thank you, but that's arigato in Japanese, and you say arigato, but instead they'll say sumimasen. Sumimasen means excuse me. What do you mean by excuse me? It's when somebody did something good to you, you'd say thank you, but they would say excuse me. What is that supposed to mean? It means when people in Japan, when they say sumimasen, it means excuse me for having you to pick up like the handkerchief or something. Sorry to bother you. That's kind of the way how Japanese think. They don't want to bother other people. They don't want to go through the hassle of doing something for you. So they say sumimasen. It's common in Japan. Everybody says that instead of thank you. It's kind of weird, but that's how it is. So when you have a mask on, it doesn't mean that you don't want to get sick or you want to prevent it. It's actually the other way around. You don't want to cause it. You don't want to be the one to spread the disease, or if you like say if you're sick, you have a mask on, you don't want to spread it around. So it's kind of weird, but it's the other way around. It's Japanese avoid being blamed for something. So it's kind of weird, but that's how it goes. Another thing is because of that, like social pressure, they say. Social pressure is really hard in Japan. Recently, there was a reality show called The Terrace House. There was a girl in there. Her name was Hana. And I guess in the reality show, how I know it, because I haven't watched it, so I don't know. I just read an article what happened. It was just that this girl was a pro wrestler, I guess, and she has her uniform, and it's a pretty expensive uniform, and she went to go wash it. Basically this reality show, like a couple of girls and guys live in the same house, and things happen, I guess, and I guess she forgot her uniform inside the washing machine, and the next guy that came in washed his clothes and didn't know that her uniform was in there. And after he washed it, he put it in the dryer. So basically, if you put it in the dryer, then her uniform got small. It shrunk, and she got really angry, I guess, and went off on him. And I guess afterwards, I guess she was really harsh on him. And afterwards, a lot of the people who were watching that TV show, they posted like really harsher words to her, saying that it was part of her fault for forgetting her uniform inside the washing machine. And I guess people wrote really bad things, and I guess that was a lot of pressure for her. And at the end, she recently committed suicide, and it has been a problem in Japan. And the TV show, it just got canceled, and a lot of things will probably change here in Japan. I think they are trying to change the law on if you're commenting on something, and if you have really negative words, they're going to try to find out who is writing it, and worst case, they can get sentenced for writing really harsh words. The government's working on that, so hopefully that goes through and everything changes. Japanese in general, they don't hug and kiss as much like the Westerners do. So that's another thing that was helpful to prevent the disease. There's things where in Japan, a lot people don't speak out loud as much, so there's not a lot of droplet infections or airborne infections. People use masks in general, but they don't talk out loud in public. So that's one of the another reasons why they say that it helped reduce the infection. I think Japan is one of the cleanest countries in the world, and I think that helped as well. There's a lot of sanitizers all around. The bathrooms are clean. In general, all the streets are clean, I guess. And also, another thing that they say is that when we go inside the house, we take off our shoes. So we don't wear our shoes inside the house. So it's really clean inside the house. So that can be another reason why it didn't spread as much compared to other countries. And here's my last point that I want to talk about. I read an article about when you are infected with the disease, the COVID-19 disease, a lot of people who have heart problems and diabetes, that can cause, actually, it could be more severe than not having these type of problems. So I did a research on cause of deaths in the world. I found one for Japan and one for the US. And when you compare these two, you can see that 1/3 of Japanese die from cancer. And in the US, it's 23%, which is about 1/4. Another thing that you see is that in the US, actually, almost 1/3 die from heart problems, which is like heart attacks. And in Japan, heart attacks there's only 8%. In the US, there's 3% who die from diabetes. And in Japan, it doesn't say here, but it's probably under 1%. So when you think about it, the article that I read said diabetes and heart problems. I added all the heart problems and diabetes cause of death. In the US, it came to 42%. And in Japan, it was only 16%. The lifestyle in Japan and in the US is totally different. how we eat and how we live. There's a lot of stress in Japan. I may want to talk about that some other day, but that could be another reason why the death rate was lower in Japan. Here you have it. This was what I thought about why Japan was very fortunate to have low numbers, and there wasn't a lot of people who died. We did have a couple celebrities who died because of the coronavirus. A very famous comedian who was one of my favorites when I was growing up, Ken Shimura. He was so famous in Japan. He's like, I think in the U.S. they said he's compared to Robin Williams in the U.S. He's in Japan, actually, he's kind of more than Robin Williams. Kind of his statue he was really he was loved by everyone, and it was really sad that we lost him. There's other actresses who passed away. It was very sad, but I guess this caught attention to a lot of the Japanese public, and I think they got more aware of the virus, and I think that it's really ironic, but it helped grow attention to the virus and got people to take it more serious. Hope you liked it. I will see you guys next week. Thank you for listening. Talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.